Hello everyone and welcome to Bell Explains. In this video, I will be explaining 1.3 positive and negative fractions. Compare and arrange the following fractions in ascending order. So first, let's get the decimal value for these fractions. I've already calculated them and put them down below here. So next, let's arrange. The smallest number here will be negative 0.833, which is the decimal number for fraction negative 5 over 6. Following that, it will be negative 0.417, which is the decimal for negative 5 over 12. Then negative 0.25 for negative 1 over 4, 7 over 24, then 3 over 8. For B, we'll do the same thing. So the smallest number here is negative 0.833, which is the decimal number for negative 5 over 6. Then 0.722, which is negative 13 over 18. Negative 0.667, which is negative 2 over 3. Negative 0.625, which is for negative 15 over 24. 0.33 for 1 over 3. Then 0.625 for 5 over 8. Next, compare and arrange the following fractions in descending order. So let's find the biggest number first. Here the biggest number would be 0.6 for 3 over 5. 0.833 for 5 over 6. Negative 0.125 for negative 1 over 8. Negative 0.35 for negative 7 over 20. And 0.417 for negative 5 over 12. For B, let's do the same thing. Find the largest number first. So the largest number here will be 0.611, which is the decimal for 11 over 18. Then 0.388 for negative. Oh, sorry. It's a negative. Okay, so the next one will be 0.22 for 2 over 9. 2 over 9. And then after that, we're followed by negative 0.388 for 7 over 11, 7 over 18. And then 0.5 for negative 1 over 2. And negative 0.556 for negative 5 over 9. Lastly, we have negative 0.583 for negative 7 over 12. Moving on to self-practice 1.3c, evaluate each of the following. So for A, let's first change it to an improper fraction, which gives us 7 over 6 plus 3 over 4 plus 1 over 5. So in order to do an addition of a fraction, you have to make sure the denominator is same. So let's make the denominator same. This gives us 7 over 6 plus 15 over 20 plus 4 over 20. Now that the denominators are the same, you can do the addition. So 7 over 6 times, times, okay. 19 over 20. That gives us 133 over 120, and simplifying this gives us 113 over 120. Make sure to always leave the final answer in a simplified form. Next, negative 5 over 6 plus 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 you get 5 over 3, divide by negative 3 over 7. So according to the BODMAS rule, we'll have to do division first. But you cannot just leave it at division, okay? You have to change it to a multiplication, and in order to do that, you'll just have to flip the number over. So change it to multiplication, negative 7/3. So you just have to flip this number over. That gives us negative 5/6 plus negative 35/9. Okay, so like I said earlier, in order to do an addition, you have to make sure the denominators are the same. So that gives us here times by 3, 3, 2, and 2, giving us a denominator of 18. And that gives us negative 85/18. And simplifying this gives us negative 4/13/18. Okay, next. Changing this to improper fraction gives us negative 2 times 2, 4, 5/2 divide by 9, 10/3 plus negative 1/6. So here we have to change this to a multiplication, giving us negative 5/2 times negative 3/10 plus negative 1/6. So here we'll get positive 15/20 plus negative 1/6. Note that this number becomes positive because negative and negative multiplication gives you a positive number. So next, you can simplify this number 15/20 in the multiplication of 3. Here gives us, in the multiplication of 5, here gives us 3, and here gives us 5. And here gives us 4, I'm sorry. So 3/4 minus 1/6. Here you can times by 3, 3, here by 2 and 2. Gives us 9/12 minus 2/12. That gives us 7/12. Next, for D, negative 6 times 20, 21, 22, 23. So 23/7 minus 9/2. So first let's make the denominator the same. Gives us negative 6 times 46/14 minus 63/14. This gives us negative 6 times negative 17/14. So 6, so negative and negative gives us positive. 6 times 17 gives us 102/14. And this gives us 7/2/7. Next, negative 1/3 plus 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17/6 minus 3/8 times 5/3. Okay, so multiplication goes first, which means negative 1/3 plus 17/6. Negative and positive gives us negative 15/24. So here let's make the denominators the same. Times 6 times 6 times 4 times 4. Sorry, here times 8 and 8. Okay. So negative 8/24 plus 68/24 minus 15/24 gives us 45/24, and simplifying that gives us 1/7/8. You can also do these operations on your calculator. but make sure to write down the working so that you do not lose any marks. Okay, and lastly, negative 1 over 4 plus negative 4 over 5 times 12, 13 over 6 minus 5 over 16. So here let's do multiplication first. So that gives us negative 1 over 4, negative positive, negative 4 times 13. So here you can actually simplify. Since multiplication goes in the cross direction, you can simplify it here to 2, here to 3. So that gives us 26 over 5 times 3, 15, minus 5 over 16. So try put that in your calculator and you will get negative 271 over 240. So this is your final answer. A baker usually uses 3 over 4 cups of sugar to bake a sponge cake. He reduces the amount of sugar by 1 over 2 cups for a less sweet sponge cake. A customer orders 3 sponge cakes and 5 less sweet sponge cakes. How many cups of sugar are required to bake the cakes the customer has ordered? So for a sponge cake, 3 over 4 cups of sugar is used, which is 15 over 4 in improper fractions. And for a less sweet sponge cake, it is reduced by 1 over 2. So that gives us 15 over 4 minus 1 over 2. And by making the denominators the same, we get 15 over 4 minus 6 over 4, which gives us 9 over 4. So now the customer has ordered 3 sponge cakes, which means 3 times 15 over 4 and 5 less sweet sponge cakes. So 9 over 4. Okay. So this gives us 45 over 4 plus 45 over 4. And that gives us 90 over 4. And by putting that into your calculator, that gives you 22 1 over 2 cups of sugar. Okay. Adam had RM 40. Susan gave 1 over 3 of her money to Adam. After giving 1 over 8 of his money to Gopal, Adam still had 350 ringgit. Find the total amount Susan had originally. So here we have Adam had RM 40 ringgit. And Susan gives him 1 over 3 of her money. But we do not know what was the amount that she originally had. So we will just mark it as X. So now Adam's new amount of money will be 40 ringgit plus Susan's money, which is 1 over 3x. Now Adam gives 1 over 8 of his money to Gopal. His new money meaning his money and Susan's money. So simplifying this gives us 5 plus 1 over 24x. Now let's find out how much Susan had originally. Adam's total money was 40 plus 1 over 3x. After giving his 1 over 8 amount of money, 1 over 8 of his money to Gopal, he had 350 ringgit balance. See here, we have Adam's total minus what Adam gives equals to his balance. Now let's open up the bracket. We have 40 plus 1 over 3x minus 5. And here we have negative 1 over 24x because negative and positive here gives you negative equals to 350. Next, let's move all the x's to one side and the whole numbers to the other side. So here we have 1 over 3x minus 1 over 24x equals to 350 minus 40. Minus 40 because if here it is a positive value, when we move it to the other side, it becomes a negative value. Since here it is minus, here becomes plus 5. Okay, so here we have to make sure the denominators are the same. So here we'll make it 24 times by 8 and 8 gives us 8 over 24 minus 1 over 24x equals to 315. That gives us 7 over 24x equals to 315. So in order to find the value of x, we have to move all the numbers to the other side and make sure x is all alone on this side. So let's move 24 to the other side. If it is divide on this side, when it moves to the other side, it becomes multiplication. So 7x equals to 315 times 24. Next, since 7 and x is bound by a multiplication, when it moves to the other side, it becomes division. So 315 times 24 divided by 7 gives us 1080. So the total amount that Susan had originally was RM 1080. Next, let's take a look at Mastery Q 1.3 number 4. The water level in a tank was 2/5 meter at 4 p.m. The water level dropped by 1/6 meter every hour for 5 subsequent hours. When it was towards 12 midnight, the water level rose by 2/3 meters. Calculate the water level at midnight. So at 4 p.m. we have 2/5, which is 12/5 meters. And every hour it dropped by 1/6 meters. So for 5 hours, we have 1/6 times 5, giving us 5/6 meters. Okay, so now here we have 12/5, and since it dropped by 5/6, we minus 5/6 and plus, since it rose by 2/3 meters, it will be plus 2/3 meters, okay? So here we have 12/5 minus 5/6 plus 345/3. Okay, now let's put this in our calculators. So here we get 37/30. Next, container A contains 60 ml of water. 3/8 of the water in container B is poured into container A. 5/12 of the water in container A is then poured into an empty container C. If container C contains 45 ml of water now, find the volume of water in container B. So here we have 5/12 of container A water is now in container C. So that is 45 ml, right? So let's calculate the ml, the volume of water in container A first. So here we have 5/12 of A equals to C, which is 5/12 of A is 45. So here we get to find A. We get 45 times 12/5. Here we get 108 ml. So since container A originally had 60 ml and now it has 108 ml, so we have container A plus 3/8 of container B, we get 108 ml. Okay, that gives us, since A was originally at 60, 3/8 B equals to 108 ml. Now let's calculate the volume of water in container B. Minus 60, because from here, when we move it to the other side, it becomes negative. So here we have 3/8B, we get 48 ml. B equals to 48 times 8/3, giving us 128 ml. And that wraps up 1.3.